I hope the screen is available. I've shared a slide. Rosemary, if you could please respond.
Yes, ma'am. I can see the screen.
Okay, great. So we are going to start with unit 5th today, which is resource mapping. In the last class, we had finished what is a business idea, what are business opportunities, how brainstorming could be used to um, generate certain ideas, how to avail the opportunities available. Now we are going to start with unit 5th, which is resource mapping. So under resource mapping, what are we going to focus on? There are ample resources available in the environment. Now, which are the resources that could be utilized by the entrepreneur? That needs to be determined. Determined. So, uh, the resources those are to be used by the entrepreneur, the resources those are to be exploited by the business ventures need to be figured out, and for that a systematic approach is formulated through which mapping of the resources could be done. Now, so this is the basic concept. There exists abundant resources which may be exploited. So which natural resources are available, and what are the patterns in which they are available, be it any agricultural resource or be it any mineral resources, in what pattern are they available, so that their usability, workability, or accessibility for the entrepreneurs could be figured out. So okay, so the same could be figured out. So what they need to decide is what are the basic features of the area size and leading physical features that the entrepreneurs are looking for. The population, occupational pattern, per capita income, socio-economic background for the area. This is not log ground, this should be background. There's a printing mistake. The exports and imports from a certain area. Uh, what are the exploited or the potentially exploitable production of factors of production in an area? What is the structure of manufacturing industries which are utilizing any local resources? The infrastructure facilities available there. What is the present demand? What are the opportunities that lies ahead? And then finally, identification of any recommendable project objectives which are suitable for utilizing the resources in a particular defined area. So while the entrepreneur has to figure out where it needs to settle down, which resources it needs to utilize, which area does it need to choose for its operations. They need to figure out the basic features of any location, the basic features of any area, what resources do they have to offer to the business enterprises, how much resources of the same area or same locality has already been exploited by other competitors present there, what are the future opportunities that the area can offer in terms of resources. When we talk about resources, we are basically talking about all kinds of resources that the area could offer, be it human resources, be it raw materials, or be it financial resources, every kind of resources that any location or any area has to offer. Okay, so this is how it is done. For instance, if you see, there are a lot of factories which are set up in Himachal Pradesh or in Uttarakhand, or let's say in Roorkee. So every cosmetic product that you will read at the back, that where has it been manufactured, you'll see all these manufacturing units are located for soaps, for creams, moisturizers. All of these are located in Roorkee or somewhere in Uttarakhand, because they have certain resources that could facilitate its production. So similarly, or because most of the factories are already settled there. So once the factories are settled there, that means that area is already providing a lot of infrastructural facilities or a lot of subsidies from the government, or a lot of other resources that could easily be or readily be available, because it is already being used by the competitors. So anybody who plans to set up another factory unit of such a product, suitably they can suitably do it at a certain area where it is already being carried out. So that is what is the objective of area study over here. So what are the kind of resources those need to be mapped by the business entrepreneurs? First is natural resources. So generally what happens, as a rational approach, as a logical approach, entrepreneurs always look for various ways in which they could convert the natural resources into profitable enterprises. So they look out for such uh, you know areas, or look out for such opportunities wherein they could exploit a natural resource, they could map a natural resource and convert it into their entrepreneurial product. So this is the purpose of figuring out natural resources. For instance, there are a lot of categories of natural resources under which entrepreneurs could start their journeys from. They might start something from forest. What opportunities does forest lay lays out for the entrepreneurs? If you are venturing into, let's say, sandal soap, or if you are venturing into some paper products, or if you want to base your industry on certain furnitures, then this is the area that could provide you ample opportunities. Horticulture too provides a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurial ventures. For instance, you could go for vegetable processing, cultivation, you could go for any plantation, or flowering, ornamental flowering kind of uh, businesses. You see, there's ferns and petals, there is IGP. So a lot of other ventures are there which are based on ugao, and a lot of others which are based on plantation industry, that forms a part of horticulture. Or ornamental flowers, that also forms a part of horticulture. Agriculture. So under agriculture also you can have a lot of avenues. You can exploit agricultural resources and grow somewhere, grow in your venture. If you want to deal into uh, what do we say, into processed foods, or into any supplies of edibles, you can go ahead. Or agro waste, marine or aqua, minerals, animals, windmills, or such things, for sun, for solar panels, or for human resources also. For that matter of reason, potential human resources could be tapped up for effective and efficient utilization of the opportunities. Now, techno commercial aspects means, the knowledge of existence of a certain resource does not in itself ensures that an idea will be successful, or an idea will be workable for an entrepreneur. What it needs it is, for it to be combined with some technical or some commercial knowledge, so as to derive complete benefit from it. Okay, if you have knowledge, you cannot just ensure that your business will do wonders, or it will succeed in its venture. But that knowledge has to be combined with some technical or maybe commercial aspect, technical or maybe commercial knowledge, so that you could make it workable. So, while identifying opportunities based on natural resources, it is also beneficial for the entrepreneurs to pay attention to the following aspects, to the following techno and commercial aspects, which is what? Exploitation feasibility. That means, uh, whether or not you will be able to judge for the scope for commercial exploitation of a given resource, because there would be a lot of resources available, but you need to find out something that will fire your imagination. Okay, so exploitation of resources should also be feasible. There might be certain resources that you wish to go ahead with, but the exploitation or their usability or the workability of that option might be too difficult or too unviable. So what is the quantification in life of a resource, in the sense that how well available is a particular resource that you want to deal into, that you want to get up into. um, for instance, if I take up an example, if the locality that the entrepreneur is based into has a lot of limestone deposits, then they can maybe set up a mini cement plant or something, a cement plant or something. So it depends upon in what quantity a particular resource is available for you. So that would denote the certainty of um, a particular idea to be workable, whether there are reserves or proven reserves for certain resources. Um, so, what is needed for this is geological investigations to be carried out by the entrepreneur. Then, resource specifications. What does this mean? You need to figure out why a particular resource is available in a particular area in abundance, or why is it not available in other parts of the country. Okay, so you need to figure out uh, what are the atmospherical conditions or the environmental conditions that are suitable for a resource to be available under an area. Okay, so if I have to give you an example, let's say it is okay. See, there are there is rearing of sheep in Rajasthan, but those sheeps do not possess the kind of wool that is suitable for the production of woolen garments. Okay, or for expensive woolen garments, or for you know even making out yarns or anything like that. Okay, you can make out basic carpets and such things, but not the woolen clothes, not the warm woolen clothes, not the expensive woolen clothes. So that is the difference between uh, understanding the specification of a particular resource in a particular area. Next, resource stability. It is possible that a certain output or a certain resource is available in an area for the time being or right now, but it may not be available in future. So that too needs to be figured out, whether a resource which is available in a state right now or in a given locality right now, at a geographical location right now, whether it is going to be available even in near future. Because once you start a venture, I told you while teaching MER 01 that businesses are going concern. They're not meant to be shut down. So once you start, you have to have this objective in mind that I'm not going to shut it down. So you have to see the future prospects as well while exploiting a particular location. Then critical infrastructure for resource utilization. If any resources needs a particular kind of infrastructure for it to be exploited. The commodity or trading dimension. For instance, lot of times with a lot of commodities or resources, there is too much of fluctuation in the prices on a daily basis, on a regular basis. So, would you be interested in entering into such a venture? No, not unless you are financially that strong to take such kind of risks. So that's also another techno commercial aspect to be studied. This is a commercial aspect. The legal dimensions, there are certain times lot of laws pertaining to exploitation of a natural resource or for the distribution of a natural resource. Okay. For instance, if I talk about, if you wish to start some aqua or marine or fisheries industry, and not hailing from a um, you're not hailing from a area in which uh, such activity could be carried out easily. You cannot think of migrating to a place and then starting your business over there, because the locals would have a right over there. There would be entry point barriers for you. So there could be some legal dimensions attached to it. For instance, a lot of handicraft industries has a lot of restrictions over usage of some local objects, local resources. For instance, they might have restrictions over usage of bamboo because it is associated with tribal areas or something like that. So there are some legal dimensions also while you are trying to associate yourself with a particular resource. And then some other considerations as in, um, whether the idea that you are going to go ahead with is sustainable or not, whether there are any environmental conditions to be adhered to. So such kind of things. Existing or anticipated industries, basically, whenever there are already certain similar industries which are existing at a place, it kind of makes the journey of an entrepreneur very easy. Somebody who's trying to enter into it, okay, because it helps them in in identification of uh, various opportunities or the resources or the threats or the hurdles that are being faced by them. So if there is similar project, raw material for the existing industry could be figured out easily. What are the other concerns of processing of output? What are the capital goods required for the existing industry? The projects which are based on waste or byproduct, that could be figured out. Packaging material, service needs, among all these things, you could develop lot of you could attain lot of help from the existing industries. So, while identifying opportunities based on the existing industry, it is always advised to keep some things in mind, which is your outlook for the existing industry of your interest. In the sense that always uh, go ahead for such industries which are not just profitable but is also of your interest area, which is not just profitable, because for entrepreneurs it is not very easy to be driven only by profitability. If you are actually interested into it, if your purposes aligns with your consciousness, then you'll be able to deliver better, then you'll be able to sustain for long. Then ancillary parent industry syndrome, um, basically lot of subsidiary firms suffer from lack of support from a particular parent industry or from a particular holding company. Okay, this is about holding subsidiary companies. So if you are a small subsidiary part, then there are a lot of such subsidiaries which are not very well attended to by the parent industries. So it is very difficult to judge which industry to blame, whether it is the subsidiaries or whether it is the holding, which are not, which are responsible for not a smooth relationship between the two. So there could be poor quality, there could be inefficiencies as a result of the poor relationship between the subsidiary and the parent industry. So while identifying such opportunities, this needs to be kept in mind by the entrepreneur, that whether the poor performance of an industry in a particular locality or area is because of the poor relationship that it possesses with its holding company or with its parent company. So there is a possibility that an enterprise is capable of doing very well, but is currently incurring losses because of lack of support from its parent industry. So that needs to be figured out. One should not judge, one entrepreneur should not judge an industry or the prospect of an industry merely by looking at its profits. It needs to find out what are the reasons for low profits or no profits in case such situation exists. Captive arrangement. See, sometimes there is a possibility that an industry is made to be looked as very attractive, whereas in reality it might not be. Okay, so few of the products or components or forms might look very attractive, might look very profitable, might look very prospective, but that couldn't be the actual situation. So that it is important that the actual situation of the industries be inquired well by the entrepreneurs. Nature of decision making process also influences industries to a great extent. uh, who makes the decision, whether the decision can be made independently or not, is there a lot of intervention from government or from any other such um concerns. There could be some consumer forums, or there could be some environmental related forums. There could be certain NGOs which might exercise a lot of control over your business, a lot of control over your decisions. So that needs to be figured out. What are the projects in the pipeline in a particular industry which seems attractive to you right now? How motivated are the feedbacks? It is important that you take feedbacks from the supplier, from the customers, from the prospective investors, from the locals before venturing into one. You must look beyond the local industries. See, the local industries are no longer the closed ones. There is certain there are certain other areas also which could be equally developed in line with the local industries if given proper attention. So explore you need to explore beyond the local industries. What are the non-local demand? What are the non-local um, prospects, resources available? Well entrenched non-local supply industries, entrepreneurs needs to explore and identify who are the ones that they are supposed to be competing with. If they choose a local industry linked opportunity, they need to figure this out. There are there are industry clusters available. There are um, industry clusters available outside, and you need to figure out to what extent can you break those barriers. For instance, if we talk about Jalandhar, not Jalandhar, let's talk about Ludhiana. Ludhiana, when it comes to all those, uh, when it comes to the clothing or the apparel sector, it supplies goods to all over India, and they've got a very, they've developed their own clusters over there. It's very difficult to be broken by anyone. If we talk about Kerala, that's the spice state. You cannot think of developing a spice cluster or a spice market as strong as Kerala outside at any other place. So there are certain clusters which are formed by a lot of industries, which become very difficult to be broken or to be competed with. So it's important to identify who are going to be your competitors in case of local industry linked opportunities. Then what are the demand driven, market driven opportunities? For instance, if we talk about market driven opportunities, then we need to identify um, factors such as trade flows in the sense, what is the inflow or outflow that you will receive from an investors. import substitution Import substitution, um, in the international context, this becomes important, this becomes a convenience for opportunity identification. So you can consider manufacturing such equipment, such components, such parts, such chemicals or medicines which are now important from abroad. So you can think of substituting them. Growth products, think of uh, certain such products which are growing, which have growing demands, which have experienced a regular or a remarkable growth. For instance, organic food products, for example, ready made garments. People do not want to take up the responsibilities of uh, the hassle of getting clothes stitched now. So there is a lot of emphasis given on organic products. There's lot of emphasis given on ready-made garments. There is a lot of emphasis given on biodegradable plastics. So, which are the ones that are growing products? Then product positioning or differentiation. Is it possible for you to um, add or to introduce any point of differentiation to your product? Any point of differentiation to your product? What are the ways in which you could add differentiation to your products? You can add certain product features or certain applications, or maybe the price point. Your price point could be that low, or your quality could be that high, or your after sale services could be that good. For instance, when we talk about electronics, under electronics, the air conditions of General Ohio, O General, they've developed a product differentiation. Why or how come? Because of the quality that they provide. Or if we talk about washing machines or maybe microwave, IFB has created its own differentiation, product differentiation, again because of its quality. If we talk about hard disks, Western Digital has its own differentiation, and that differentiation is because of their after sale services. Even if there is any there is an issue in their product, they just replace the product. So there is replacement warranty that they provide, right? So anything, if there is any feature, if there is any application, if there is any quality or price point, the example that I gave you the other day of the use and throw pens, they've created a differentiation with the prices that they offer, unmatchable. So Can you position your product in a certain way, or can you differentiate your product in a certain way? uh, if I have to explain you product positioning here, let me just focus a bit over here. Product positioning basically means positioning a product in the minds of the customer. How are you positioning a product in the minds of the customer? Okay. For example, Maruti. How has Maruti positioned itself in the minds of the customer? All the advertisements that we see of Maruti, whether it be on television or whether it be on billboards, it has always integrated its advertisement into one factor, which is after sale services. Even if you get, stuck at Leh or Ladakh where there is no petrol pump, but you will definitely find a Maruti service station, right? So that is product positioning. Maruti has positioned itself in the minds of the customer as a product, as a company which offers easy after sale services, accessible after sale services. They have ample amount of service stations. So that is how they position itself. If you talk about Airtel, how does Airtel positions itself? As a premier networking option. You will always find our networks. We will always be available there. But then we are going to charge you high for that. Okay? So that is product positioning. So positioning yourself in the minds of the customer. Then, so what are the other opportunities? Exports. Whether you would have avenues of avenues for export in the area that you are planning to venture into. Then basis for imports. um, what are the bases because of which certain countries are importing your product? Are they importing because the product that you're supplying them is not available in their country, or are they, importing your product because the uh, product that they are importing from you is not available at a cheaper price or at a better quality? So, you need to figure out what is the basis for which your product is basically imported by other countries, so that you could figure out how long can you sustain. Okay. What are the competitive advantages and not just potential? See, entrepreneurs generally look at the potential of an opportunity, in the sense how much uh, growth prospects or profit prospects they offer, right? Whereas in reality, whereas in reality, they need to figure out the competition that they are going to be facing. How can they win over or establish a position for themselves in the market when compared to their competitors? So what is it that you have, what is it that you have to offer that is better than what your competitors are not being able to offer? Okay. So you need to figure out what is it that you can bring to the market, what is it that you can bring to the table. Not just that, a market is booming, a demand for a particular product is booming, and therefore I should also enter into it and start manufacturing the same. No, you need to figure out that why, even if a particular product is booming, why should the customer buy your product and not somebody else's? So how are you going to place yourself in a advantageous position than your customers? So there are a lot of 100% export oriented units which are being set up in the country. So there are a lot of regulations that they have to follow. There are compliances of DGFTs, Director General of Foreign Trade, and uh, they can think of venturing into it. So How to scan resource information. Um, they need to find out what opportunities are lying ahead. They need to find out sound business ideas. They need to figure it out which is a good idea that could land in their hands, that they could be able to deliver better in. Then environmental scanning. This is something that we've been doing since a long time, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. Environmental scanning is something that we've been studying from MER, right from MER 01, and we've done this even here in Unit 1, MER 03 Unit 1. So I'm going to skip it quickly. Some other sources of business ideas: personal information, personal informal sources, personal formal sources. This is going to be informal. Some impersonal written sources, some impersonal oral sources that you just go through and it might click to you. Now, coming out to Unit 6th, which is opportunity scanning and identification. So, what are the ways in which entrepreneurs could scan certain opportunities? Scanning, you already know what is scanning. We've done environmental scanning also. Scanning is basically continuously monitoring the environment. So similarly, opportunity scanning would be what? Continuous monitoring of an opportunity. How fruitful is it going to be? How prospective it could be? What are the advantages, competitive advantages that you could have in that? So the process by which an opportunity is identified is called as opportunity scanning or sensing and identification. So we need to understand at first entrepreneurship. What exactly is entrepreneurship? Under entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurs involve themselves in identification of business opportunities. So that is how the relevance of opportunities or scanning of opportunities arises from. They have to establish an enterprise based on an opportunity and have to engage themselves into subsequent activities which needs to be profitable, which needs to be profitable. So what are the alternative fields for self employment? Entrepreneurs can engage themselves in industry. What is industry? Where certain raw materials are taken and they are um, processed into a finished good form, where there is manufacturing taking place. Trade, they're not manufacturing anything, only buying a certain good from somebody and selling it to the final customer. Commercial services, when a facility is being provided, a commercial facility is being provided, for instance transport services, banking services, insurance services, hospitality services, all these hotels, ITC, Taj, or all these you know transport agencies, for instance Air Asia, Vistara, Go Air, all of them, and all the banks, the national banks, the private banks, the public sector banks, or the foreign banks, or the rural banks, any kind of facilities, such commercial services are classified here. Professional services, when there is an architecture who has started his own commercial services, or where there is a software engineer who has started going freelancing, or when there is a chartered accountant who, instead of joining a PSU or an already existing firm, they plan to start their own partnership. So when doctors do consultancy, when lawyers do give legal consultancies, all of that fall under personal services, where the services are being delivered by a particular professional. So how can an opportunity be identified? It can be identified based on the experiences of the entrepreneurs, based on the expansion or diversification plans that they have, then based on the local demand that is being arising or rising. Then they can find an opportunity when certain imports are banned or controlled by the government. For instance, recently, China has a lot of products that were imported previously from China has been banned. So, Indian entrepreneurs can think of venturing into such sectors. When certain specific advantages are available for producing a particular product, for instance, government is giving a lot of subsidies or assistance, financial assistance, tax subsidies to such industries which are entering into manufacturing or are entering into any export processing sectors. Something might click you where you find or you see high profitabilities. You may find an opportunity from which can be derived from certain aspects of industrial policy, or maybe through other technological based experiences. Now, what is the zeroing in process or the final stage? Basically, uh, it deals with how should an prospective entrepreneur arrive at a final project. How should somebody who's planning to be an entrepreneur, who wants to be an entrepreneur, who's intending to be an entrepreneur, how should they arrive at a final project? What processes or criterias of selection should they have, right? So, in several aspects, in several respects, the final selection should follow the course of action that has been already adopted in the previous stages, but with a with a minor difference. What is that minor difference? It is the examination of each of the areas, such as there should be proper examination of market, there should be proper examination of raw materials, of the total investment that has to be made, of the type of organization as in whether it is going to be private owned or whether it is to be established under a partnership agreement. So each of the areas needs to be examined with relevant details, and also the interrelationship between each of the areas will have to be fully worked out. Okay. For instance, if let's say I take up an example, if there is an engineer who would like to make a particular component of a bicycle, obviously he's going to do it on a small scale because he cannot, he's just venturing, he's just going to initiate, so he cannot meet the total demand for that component, so he'll have to focus on a certain area, on a certain locality or maybe certain geographical region, right? So what all things does he need to examine for that? He needs to meet up with the local dealers. He needs to figure out what is the demand of a cycle manufacturer. So in this way, he has already covered two industrial products or two business opportunities. Okay, one is for meeting part of a demand, other is the demand that could be of the entire process, the entire product, that is the whole cycle. So these are the two industrial products. He either manufactures a particular component or he goes in and manufactures the entire product, which is a cycle. So after doing this, he selects whether it is going to be uh, only a component industry or is it going to be the whole product industry that he will engage himself in. Then After this is done, they need to work out what is the prospective market, what is the availability of labor, where can I venture, where can I figure out available, where can I find out available um, technicians or engineers from. On the basis of that, he will figure out where to locate my industry, right? For instance, if I discuss it like this, you see, Bangalore was known as the cyber hub of India, right? The Silicon Valley of India, because there are a lot of engineering colleges, right? Similarly, there are a lot of engineering colleges in Bhubaneswar also. So all those companies which are startups, which have, employees of 100 or 200, they locate their offices in Bhubaneswar, not in Bangalore, because Bangalore is going to cost them much more. Similarly, although such companies or such startups which have requirement of small number of employees or engineers, they've started basing them in, locating themselves in Bhopal again, because there are a lot of engineering colleges, so they can find employees easily over there with just campus placement in 2 to 3 colleges. So, what is the market? What could be the location? Where to get the laborers from? So, all of this needs to be figured out while finalizing an opportunity, while selecting an opportunity to be going ahead with. Now, going ahead with Unit 7, which is business opportunity identification and business plan preparation. So, here an entrepreneur needs to figure out, here the entrepreneurs needs to identify the opportunities which are lying ahead, and how can an entrepreneur plan their businesses. So, there are two main reasons for developing a comprehensive business plan. One, it ensures successful operation of your business. When you already have things planned in your hand, it is very easy to implement the same. It is very easy to go ahead with same. And if you're seeking external funds from banks or from venture capitalists, VC is what they are called, or referred to generally, or any other investors, it is essential that you demonstrate them what plan you have in hand. Okay, so if you wish to raise money from external parties or funds from external parties, you need to make a proposal, you need to make a proper business plan. So that's the reason, these are the two main reasons for making up a business plan. The checklist for identifying potential business opportunities. First, opportunities doesn't goes on trees. So one of the biggest myths about opportunities that they are undiscovered fruit waiting to be plucked. No, opportunities needs to be looked upon. Opportunities needs to be figured out. Usually an opportunity consists of, alignment of a market need with a personal competence. Okay, so there should be hunger for a particular product in the market, and somebody should be competent enough to deliver that hunger, to satisfy that hunger. So that needs to be figured out. Does your business idea resolve someone's pain, discomfort, frustration, or dissatisfaction? It's important. It's very important, because only those products or services are demanded in the market which solve some problem, which solve some problem, which solve certain issues being faced. So if there is no problem, there is no discomfort uh, being faced by the customers, they are not going to buy any product or service. So it is important that while you're venturing out into your business plan, you figure out which problem or which discomfort or which pain of the customers is your product going to solve or is going to resolve to? Okay. Any kind of frustration, any kind of discomfort. So, mm, I'm thinking of an example here. For instance, see, I will provide you an example over here. HUL once, long back, let's say some 6, 7 years ago, had come up with a product which is a hair perfume. So they'd even launched their advertisements on the television. Okay, but it had to take it back. It had to take back the advertisement. It had to stop the production because it failed. That product failed in the market. They had to incur a lot of losses because of it. Why? Because that problem, that product was not solving any problem. Definitely, I agree to the fact that India, being a tropical country, has you know, issues related to humid environment, issues related to a lot of sweating. But the Indian customers are not that hygiene conscious that, you know, they would dwell into buying something for um, ensuring that their head smells good, that their hair smells good. We have to accept the fact that, you know, 70% of the population of India still resides in rural belt, where they do not even have hand washers, where there is no use of, you know, hand washes, or such basic sanitization needs of the people are not yet uh, recognized, right? Even in lower middle classes which exist in semi urban areas, they still use one soap for 5 people, which is definitely not hygienic, but we don't mind, right? So the concept was good, that the climate makes your head also sweaty and there has to be some resolution to it, but the research was bad. They forgot as to how much are the Indian customers conscious of hygiene or sanitation, and how much are they ready to spend on it, right? So it wasn't solving any pain or any discomfort. We are okay with it, right? Ironically, we are okay with it and we don't require to spend it. So there's no pain that we are facing, or there's no discomfort, or there's no frustration because of a sweaty scalp, or because of a um sweaty head, and therefore that product wasn't really solving any as such problem, and therefore it failed. So next, how many such people are out there? How many such people are out there, in the sense there are a lot of problems, several problem exists, there are many problems, but do they have, do you have the potential to become, um, do you have the potential to solve all the problems? No. So every problem has actually to be measured in terms of the number of people who are suffering it, right? As in, you're assessing your customer base over here. You're assessing your customer base over here. How much people are out there who need your product? So you're assessing the market size. How much are they ready to pay? Who are the customers that you are targeting? What is their paying capacity? How quickly could they decide to buy your product or service? There are certain products for which customers are very reluctant to buy, for which they have to be compelled, right? For instance, electronics. If somebody just thinks of entering into electronic sector, they cannot expect that Indian customers will buy their products with full confidence. They would always be unsure of the warranty. They would always be unsure of the components that has been used. The TINA factor. What is the TINA factor? TINA stands for there is no alternative. There is no alternative, in the sense that are you planning to enter into a sector wherein you can attain the status of being the only provider, or you can come up with some unique feature that no other product possesses? Can you be a crowd puller? Can you compel people to come and purchase your good because there's nobody like you, because there's no alternative? Okay, so this is what is the Tina factor. Now, um, special resources. Do you have privileged access to some special resources? Those special resources could be some skill, could be some natural resources, it could be money, it could be access to customers, it could be technology, it could be the location, it could be the salesmanship, any kind of special resource that you have, because that's going to provide you the competitive advantage, that's going to provide you an edge over your customer, over your competitors. Convinced people to work with you. See, an entrepreneur is always a visionary. They have to um, unfold a dream with their business idea. So it is essential that they are capable of convincing people to understand and chase their dream. It is essential to convince people to come and work for you, to come and make your dream come true. Can you convince people to work with you? You'll only be able to convince if your purpose is that large that they could associate themselves with. The only way you could convince them is if you could offer them something that nobody else can, in terms of finance, in terms of positions, in terms of learning opportunities or development opportunities. Only then they are going to come to you. Why else would they come and work for you? Do their skills complement yours? Whose skills? The skills of the employees. Shared values. Do you share the values of, do you and does the entrepreneur and the team member share the same value system? Then you know the process becomes much easier. Then approval or acceptance of the idea by the confidants. If you have a co-founder, if you have a partner, how well are they, or how well receptive are they of the idea? Are the big brothers watching you? Now, big brothers in the sense, big brothers are being referred to the competitors over here. Are the competitors already eyeing you? Are they planning to kill your market? Are they planning to pull you down? Okay. Is there a potential customer who can help you with honest feedback by trying out a pilot? What is a pilot? Pilot projects are basically before the commercialization on the launch of the actual product on a large scale, because that would require a lot of investment to be made. And if the product fails, it would be a huge loss for the business to bear. So, what do they do as an alternative? Before launching it in the market on a large scale, they launch it on a small scale, and then they take feedbacks as in how much would you be ready to pay, uh, did you like the product, what did you like the most, so on and so forth. So that's basically sample testing. Okay. A lot of big products have gone large brands have gone ahead with this. So you need honest feedback from customers so that you're confident about your product, so that you're confident about the pricing policy that you're using. Can you start up without huge money? Is it possible? Is there a possibility to start your business without huge amount of money? Because raising funds, requiring huge amount of money, would mean that you'll have to raise funds from outside sources, and that would reduce your equity. They are going to take a lot from your ownership. So under such circumstances, is it possible that the opportunity that you wish to go ahead with can be started with even small funds, with small budget, Can you keep your fixed costs low during the launch? Fixed cost means compulsory costs, the cost of land, building, equipment, machinery, etc. Will your idea develop in small incremental steps that can inexpensively generate valuable information for a little cash, even for a little cash? That will bring a lot of run to you. Is the idea a detractor? In the sense that, many great ventures have been turned out in the initial stages. For example, Google, or even HP or Apple, they had they were declined funding. They faced a lot of cash crunch in the initial stages, but yet the founders had confidence in their product, and they kept on trying to do something that either that could, take them to the final stage of achieving success in the market. So unless you have at least one major detractor, then you are probably not on something big. Okay, so that is what is meant over here. Moving to the next slide. The five layered sieve. Now, business ideas can be filtered through this five layer sieve. Basically, this is a framework of five layers that helps the entrepreneurs to filter out their ideas and refine those ideas which could prove to be workable in future. So it also helps to address certain important dimensions of sectoral assessment, or the growth potentiality, or the prospects of profitability, or even legal issues. So these are the five layers of a business opportunity sieve, wherein you need to research your industry pretty well, the ones that you're choosing to get associated with or initiate your business from, about the resources that are available to you. You need to do market assessment. Um, how much what is the size of the market? How much profitability can you derive from the market? The financial assessment that is necessary for running your business, the legal assessment, potential legal liabilities that you can, expose yourself in the process of starting your new venture. Then what are the sources of business enterprise idea? This is a repetitive title, we've already done about it. Myths about preparing a business plan. First, we do not need to plan. No, it is wrong. We always need to plan. It doesn't happen like that. You cannot just, start from nowhere. You have to plan. Business plans are always to be made. Business plans are like the first thing today. They're very integral to a business unit now. I'm too busy to plan. No, there are um, there are such outsourcing units existing today, where you can outsource them to plan the business for you. Pay them, give them the consultancy fees, and they will plan it for you. So this is what means the most for an entrepreneur. So you cannot just skip this up. Plans do not produce results. No, well planned things always work out. Well planned things always work out. These are the excuses, these are the myths which are usually followed by small business owners. So they are the ones who usually think that planning is not required. इतना time किसके पास है? Things do not go as planned. No, a well planned thing always goes ahead as it has been prescribed. We are not familiar with the process of formal planning. There's no thing as such called formal planning. You may plan as you may like. There is no set format for it. So anyone can plan, and it is important to plan. What exactly is a business plan? This A business plan is basically a document. It is a document which entrepreneur shares with the potential investors. It is in the form of um, a presentation, a PPT, wherein they explain the product, they explain the origination, the source of or origin of the product, how did the idea come to them, what is the market size, what is their target area or their target market, what is their product differentiation, and so on and so forth. So I might have a business plan with me. Let me just um, try to look for it. If I could show you one, give me a single minute. I'll quickly check if it is there in my laptop. No, I cannot find it here. But never mind. I'll show you a business plan. How is a business plan made? Because this is one of the most practical aspect while you are studying entrepreneurship, while you've chosen the subject called masters in entrepreneurship. That means that somewhere down the line you might have a desire to become an entrepreneur. So one of the first stages after finding out after figuring out an idea, after finding out which product do you want to start up with, the first step after that thought process or after that idea is to actually make a business plan. It requires a lot of research, finding out what is the market size, finding out who are your competitors, finding out how much market size is already tapped by the competitors, finding out the gap in the market that you can uh, now captivate to, what are the product differentiators, so on and so forth. How much profit can you make, what is going to be the capital structure of your business. So these are very important, or one of the first initial stages of business plan. One of the first initial and crucial part of your entrepreneurship journey. What are the contents of a business plan? You have to introduce your product, your company, how did it all start, who are your team, your board of directors, your advisors, your mentors, your co-founders, your chief technical officer, your operational officer, your finance officer, your CEO. Then the opportunity as in, what problem are you exactly trying to solve, what is the size of the market, what is the expected growth rate of the market, what are the solutions that you are bringing to the table, bringing to the market, um, what is the business model, as in how are you planning to make profits, to earn revenue, competition, what's the competition in the market, what are their strengths, what are your strengths, what is their weakness, what is your weakness, what opportunities lies for them and what for you, what are the threats that they are facing and what are the threats that you are facing. So the SWOT analysis, comparative SWOT analysis, is to be done. Expectation. What is the expectation that you have from the investor? Are you there for mentoring? Are you there for financial support only? Are you there for any operational inputs? Operational inputs, if they could connect you to certain vendors, if they could, take you global, if they could provide you with their networking. So while you are presenting your business plan to somebody, it is not just financial assistance that entrepreneurs look after, right? Futuristic entrepreneurs actually look for networking, they actually look for mentorship. Financial support is a very small part of it. Now, tailoring a business plan to the expectations of investors. See, every business plan needs to be written for the investors. Those investors could be venture capitalists, those investors could be your banks, those investors could be general public. So the annual business plan should be written with the management team and for the employees who have to implement the plan. One another reason for writing a business plan is to secure investment funds for the firm. I just told you you have to present it to VCs or to banks or to any other financial institutions. The focus is mainly on three possible sources of capital: banks, VCs, and angel investors. So these are the ones. Um, some basic do's and don'ts in a business plan: always define customer need, your team strength, how are you going to ensure that every penny that you're spending gets converted into revenue. Provide clarity of purpose, clarity of market, clarity of growth. Pay attention to small details. What are the don'ts? You don't need to give too much detail at the early stage, because else your business idea might get copied also. Do not exaggerate the opportunity, because that would be the expectations of financial investors. Don't set over ambitious goal. Be humble at the beginning. Ignore competition, and there should not be formatting errors as such, because that looks very unprofessional. Expectations of investors from a business plan is that it should tell why the founder is the right person to execute a particular idea. It must define company's business, product, service, the team members, the target market. It must offer an idea of how a startup is going to be different from its competitors who are already existing in the market and have acquired a large share of the market. It must have details on how the business will generate revenue and how much has it already generated and what is their forecast. What investors avoid in a business plan is a top down approach. What is a top down approach? Where the entrepreneur says that he or she is targeting $1 billion economy and they're getting 10% of it. You know, so how is it possible that a customer will pay for the solution and how many customers will actually buy it? Okay, so that is a top down approach, and the investors usually do not appreciate it or do not like it. um, Next, they do not want you to set long term milestones. Do not tell the investors that you have a great product but you don't know what is the market that exists. Okay, so these are basically what these are vague statements. These are vague statements that, I am targeting $1 billion opportunity, but I am not sure about the customer base or how much are they going to pay for it. Similarly, setting up long term milestones, don't say that you've got a great product, it is going to excel. Kindly prove how, what is the size of the market. Do not tell that there is no competition, because competition always exists. So either you've not done your research well, or there's something that you're hiding. Okay, elevator pitch or the 2 minute pitch is the time that um, decides whether you are going to get the finances or not, whether the investor is going to be in your favor or not. So it is basically the 2 minutes of introduction that the investor expects an entrepreneur to deliver: the purpose, the condition, the financial position, the expected market outlay to be explained in. So basically, you get 2 minutes here to put across your business ideas, which you've nurtured for days and you're passionately. Next, Unit 8: Preparation and development of business plan. So, how is it so that um, the business plan is prepared or the business plan is developed over a period of time? Because it's not just once that any entrepreneur is in need of fund. They would need funds and finances over a course of period of time. They might have um raised a fund, raised a round already. They might have raised, let's say, 3 crores. And now, again, 2 years down the lane, after they've burned the amount that they'd raised already, they need to raise finance again. So, again, you will need to prepare your business plan. The previous business plan is not going to work. So, you have to keep on developing also your business plan. Previous is not going to work because the market size was different at that point of time, 2 years, 3 years before. The growth was different, the growth rate would have been different, your revenue is changed now. So it is out of all these reasons that business plan needs to be developed again and again, or needs to be keep on developing. So what is a business plan? We've already done this. This is a written document which gives step by step procedure that will be followed by an entrepreneur for the pursuit of converting the business idea into a successful business venture. What is the significance? We've done this. Firstly, it is like a roadmap, it is going to take you to success. Secondly, this is used for presenting your business idea to various stakeholders. Um, there are three areas, primary areas to a business plan: the concept area, as in what is your product, why are you basically making this product, the marketplace, the size, the growth, uh, the market share that it can think of attaining, the financial area, how much revenue are you going to make, how much costs are you incurring. Business process design. So what is business process design? It is the theoretical outline of a firm depicting the interrelationship between the firm's major processes and main resources required in achieving the objective. So this is how the firms are going to be providing value to its customers. This is how they basically depict through an outline how you're going to achieve your objectives, right? So this is a business process design wherein you design the entire process. You figure out the plant location, whether there is availability of resources or not, how near is it to the market, how much manpower or human resources are available over there, the availability of basic infrastructure as in connectivity through road, rail, sea. In case you are into an export oriented unit, there should be connectivity with airport or with seaport. The economic policies, as in whether you are getting special economic zone registered or not, whether you are getting the subsidies or not. The industrial area, processing tones, local laws, regulation, and taxation that you have to adhere yourself to. um, then the plant layout, as in what would be the arrangement of the machines that could, with proper spacing, with proper distance between the machinery so as to avoid any accidents, the work areas, the handling of equipments, the transport facilities, and the warehouses, how you're going to store your different materials, products, tools, or fixtures. The various tools and techniques those are used for preparation of plant layout are flow process chart. Flow process chart, as in how are the products or the raw materials going to flow from one place to another. process flow diagram, how are people going to, you know, uh, ensure that raw material gets processed um once the raw materials have been combined and made up into a semi-finished goods or maybe in a finished product. What is the next process? How are they going to take it to the next machinery wherein the packing will be done? After the packing has been done, how are they going to take it to the next location where the labeling will be done, the printing about the weight, about the ingredients, etc., etc. Machine data cards. Machine data cards, as in uh, they basically provide the full measurement of every machine which is to be installed in a factory. So how are they going to be installed, in what sequence, what would be the space required, what would be the maintenance and handling devices required under a particular machine. The templates are the shape or molds or patterns which are used as a guide to making something. So how, where are you going to place the template so that the workers or your labor could easily have a look at it, easily assess access to the same. The scale models are scale models are wherein measurements or dimensions could be taken easily. So you need to have a product planning and controlling, wherein planning could be done, action could be taken place, and control of machinery or the process of production could be adhered to or could be taken out smoothly. Next is unit ninth, which I wish to cover later. And in case anybody has any queries, sir, if you could stop recording.
Yes, I will. Stop the recording just now.